Today we're talking about compassion. Thank you so much for joining me, Susan.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me.
We haven't met in person, but I know you in the online realm, and you're always such a calming, peaceful presence.
Oh,
I
well,
can't wait to see what we talk about today.
sounds good.
And right before we came on the call, you were saying how timely this topic is. Obviously,
Yes.
just with
Yeah,
everyone has a different experience of the situation right now.
right. It's so true. I think, it's just a matter of life experience and where you are in the process of everything. And I think, for most people, they've been so busy and have had such busy lives that they've never had a chance to actually slow down and look within. And now that people have a lot more time on their hands and they have that quiet, they're able to do that. And for some people, I think it is, something of a surprise for them, and they really don't know what to do with all of that and where to go with it all. And it could be upsetting for some people, and that coupled with other feelings and emotions that they're experiencing at the moment. And then other people, have looked within a little bit more frequently and, realize the process and that it all unfolds in layers and that you shouldn't become alarmed by it. And I think that for those people, they're more in touch with themselves and more in tune with themselves and seem to weather the process a little bit better. So.
Yeah, and I'd love to talk later too about some tips and maybe some tools for that.
Sure.
But could you start by just defining what compassion means to you?
Well, compassion to me means that you have an ability to feel for other people, and then you take action upon that and do that in small steps. It's not something that happens in a day. It's not a magical process. I think that, it's something that requires some thought and some presence to be able to do that. And I really love this quote by Pema Chodron. It's defined: compassion isn't some kind of self-improvement project or ideal that we're living up to. Compassion starts and ends with having compassion for all of those unwanted parts of ourselves, all of those imperfections we do not want to look at. And I think that that's really pretty much sums it all up.
Yeah, big sigh from this part, hearing that definition, yeah.
So yeah, I think, we tend to judge ourselves, put labels on ourselves. We have titles, limiting beliefs, all these traumas, all of these things that we are comprised of. And, really we have to be kinder to ourselves and have mercy upon ourselves and not be so in tune with the negative, and really change the story and make it more positive. And I believe that, firmly in what Pema had said, that, it begins with us. And if we could embody that and live that kind of life of compassion for ourselves, then we will share that with other people.
Yeah. This, so when you read that quote, it totally, kind of the topics that I have, and when I think about self-improvement and I think about the journey that I'm on and realizations that I can have, it's very easy for me to put it on a to-do list. Like I'm a very list, task-oriented system person.
Right.
Maybe a lot of us are. And just as soon as you said that, it was like, I can take self-compassion off the to-do list.
Right, right.
And it's just something that can be. It's
Right.
it's not this to-do item. So I just felt a huge wash of relief come
Oh,
over me.
oh, that's wonderful. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So, well, it's true. I think, I think we tend to be very hard on ourselves. And I know from my own personal experience, I had, a health crisis 5 years ago, and it really put everything in perspective for me. And I believe that for many, many years, as a woman, a wife, a mother, and now a grandmother, you tend to put everyone else before you, and you put yourself last. And I think the thing is that, not that you have to have a to-do list per se, but I think you have to be mindful of what you do, and what you do for yourself. And I think, that should be the priority in your life. Not that it's a selfish thing in any way,
Right.
shape, or form.
Right.
I think, though, it's something that should have been taught to each and every one of us, that we are special, we are important, we do matter, and we are loved, and we are likable, we're desirable, all those wonderful things. We are that, we embody that. And to think anything less of ourselves, we're really, marginalizing ourselves, and we shouldn't let any of that define us. So I think there's a lot to be said, um, for compassion, and I do think that, um, it's just, an acceptance of yourself, for whoever you are. And I think that's the key. It's not, like I said, it's not like a to-do list or a project or any of that. It's
Right.
just being just kind and loving to yourself.
Right. Which includes, not only is it not something that you add to your to-do list, I think saying no is part of the self-compassion, taking things off your to-do list.
That's true. That's true. And I think that you're exactly right. Learning to say no. I think that's huge. So I think if people could voice that a little bit more, I think that they would be happier. It's not about necessarily pleasing others. It's about pleasing yourself. And I think if you do that, you will please other people, because you're not resentful of what's being pushed upon you, or you feel an obligation to do something.
Absolutely.
So it changes
Absolutely.
the dynamic of it all.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, it is hard for people that are typically maybe givers or people pleasers to think, well, isn't that selfish if I, say no to something or don't do something? And I've started to look at it from, like, you can only give what you have. So if you don't take the time to fill yourself up and do those things out of a real desire, it is going to affect other people around you. You're not going to have as much energy to give to your family and your friends and your community.
Well, that's 100% right. I think that's so true. And I think that, people need to take that time. Like I said, it's just so important. And just be conscious of it. I think sometimes we don't even realize what we're doing half the time, and what we give into, and what we allow ourselves to become. And I think that's something that has to be, thought about.
Right. And I think that, our daily lives right now, because they're not maybe the habits that we had the past 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, it is leaving some space for us to think about how we go through our day, which is maybe why some people are, everyone's having a different experience right now of.
Right. Well, that's true. I think, the fact that we are creatures of habit. I think that this really has, this situation has really changed all that for people in a huge way. And they have to rethink what they've been doing and try to adapt as best they can to turn this into a more positive experience for themselves rather than a negative. And I think that's the key to it all, is to just stay positive. And I know that it's hard and it's difficult. I mean, there are things that come up, with for yourself, for your spouse or a partner, your families, friends. There are all these other components that come in, and that need to be, thought about. But I think at the end of the day, I think that people will adapt, but I think that it does make it a little bit more difficult for people at this time.
Yeah, I mean, do you have tips? You mentioned that one of the first things is just kind of be present, and
Right.
even just have the awareness, I guess, of what kind of self-talk you're giving yourself, or just to check in with your environment. Is that where you start?
Yeah, I think, well, like I said, I think um, compassion begins with yourself, obviously. I think judgment of yourself should really be looked at, because I think that, we do tend to be very judgmental, and we need to turn that into kindness and forgiveness and love, and move away from that, as well as some of the limiting beliefs that we have, we tend to focus on, which I don't think is helpful as well. Presence is helpful. Meditation, that goes along with presence, to be in the moment. And I think that in the quiet, we are freed to go within, to get closer to ourselves and experience true happiness, and step into our greatness and embody the power of love and forgiveness and compassion. So I think that if we could do those things, I think that it would go a long way, as well as being, just genuinely a kind person, and just living your best life, whatever that may be for you at the moment. I mean, there is no right or wrong to any of this.
Right.
And whatever works best for each individual, that's where they should be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like Pema's quote, it's, the imperfections are going to be there. The environment is going to be, things are going to be happening there that are out of your control. It's about, accepting those and not thinking that you need to. So, I mean, my question is, how do you give it some kindness? I find it really funny too, that kind people, it's easy for people to be kind to others more than they are kind to themselves. So I really want to keep digging into the self-compassion part.
Right.
Well, what do you say to yourself to develop those feelings? Yeah.
So, well, I think the thing is, sometimes I think we tend to think that when we're experiencing something that is not positive, that that we're somehow at fault or limited in some way. And I think that we just have to, do things that make us feel better about ourselves and be kind to ourselves. So what I'm saying is that, for me, what I did in the past was I listened to people that were very inspirational people. I looked to those people, whether it was in music or the spiritual world or wherever I could find anyone that was uplifting. And that was what actually carried me through the day and through all of what I've been through. And I can't stress that enough, how important that is. And to me, that's kindness.
Wow.
By tapping into all of that, wherever you find it, and it empowers you and makes you feel better about everything and about yourself and about your future. I think that's where you have to go with it. And it's a very personal thing. I think that, you know, everybody's different and they'll find what works best for them. But it's a remarkable feeling when you experience that. And it's really very empowering. And so, yeah, I mean, I just really feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's something simple. I feel like you could set an alarm on your phone and for an hour, just turn off the news, you know, watch Oprah or something that inspires you, or listen to us, like put your favorite album on that.
Right.
It does impact, I think, the thoughts that start going through your own head if you're also hearing things from the outside that are negative or stressful.
So, well, funny story, I'll share it with you. I don't share this with too many people, but now it doesn't really matter now. So, but I, you know, well, I was diagnosed with breast cancer 5 years ago. And so to get me through everything that I had been through, I looked to music. And that to me was really very helpful, and exercise. And I would get up and go out every morning, put my sneakers on and just walk wherever. And sometimes I'd stop and sit, but I would always listen to music. And it really helped me in ways I can't even describe. I mean, it was just so uplifting and empowering. And I listened to people that would surprise you. I listened to Pitbull, and I thought he was awesome because I know he's got a certain side to him, but he's a wonderful person, and he has such an uplifting message for people of any age. And, you know, that you could always turn the negative into the positive, and no matter where you are, you know, you could change your circumstances. And it's funny, actually, a few years ago, after I had been past a lot of the things I had been through, my husband got us tickets to go see him in a concert. And it was the most awesome experience ever. And I don't know, it was really pretty wild. I mean, but you know, even at that, you know, he stopped the concert at one point and spoke about being kind to yourself. He spoke to the children that were there, saying, you know, on social media, it's not all about the likes. You need to like yourself.
Wow.
I just thought it was just incredible. Like, who stands up there, you know, a professional, you know,
rap artists,
and rap artist or whatever, you know, and stops what they're doing to talk to the kids in the audience. And I just thought that was really amazing and a testament to him and what he is all about. And, you know, I know there's a lot of other stuff like I said, but it's really very inspiring to people. And everybody just loves him, loves him.
Oh, yeah. I've been known to dance along to so, I'm very surprised to hear that from you, but thank you for sharing that.
I know he's got a t-shirt too, which so I had a wonderful time. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it, that, like I said, you just need to find something that makes you feel good and makes you feel that all that you're doing is wonderful, and that you have to just keep going with that. You know, at the end of the day, we have ourselves, And if we don't take care of ourselves, no one else is going to do it for us.
Absolutely. You know, it's really funny. When I was growing up, I used to think that everyone saw the world the same way that I did.
Mhm.
And I thought that all of the fears and the voices in my head were unique to me.
Mhm.
And now I'm realizing that everyone sees the world completely different than I do. You know, whether they think about what they think about human nature or how the world works or how energy works. And the thing that we have in common is that we have the same voices in our head.
Yes.
And this, I mean, not exact same, of course, because everyone has different experiences, but I think there's more similarities between the fears and insecurities and negative talk and limiting beliefs. I think there's more in common with everyone on the planet than there are in the ways that we see the world and we interact with people. And that realization has kind of given me more confidence to just be who I am. And then also, I think more compassion for myself, because I realized that everybody, even the people that you think are successful and beautiful and talented and, you know, whatever gift they have that you think that you might not have, I guarantee they've all had the same kind of, you know, thought cross their head, or some moment of doubt or something like that. That's really helped me.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. I think, you're right in that, you tend to think that you're the only person that's experiencing all of this, but you're not. You're not alone. And
Right.
um, I think that you're right that, some of the people, some of the most famous actresses, they have all of these insecurities and limiting beliefs and all of these negative thoughts about themselves. And you think to yourself, oh my goodness, how could that possibly be? I mean, she's so beautiful. I mean,
Right.
she's so successful. She's got everything going on for herself. And, how is that possible? But, we're all human and we all experience that. And it's just part of life, I think, just and how you deal with it and make your way through it. And I think that's the key to it all.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Being kind to others, being kind to ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's all about compassion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's a much better place to start from,
Yes.
um, no matter what you're doing or who you are.
That's true. I believe that firmly, that, I think that without that, I don't know where we would be. I think that, it's so important to have that feeling for yourself. And I think it allows you to transcend everything. And interestingly, another quote that I like is from Russell Simmons. And he says that compassion is the ultimate expression of our higher self, which I think is really
Oh,
very
interesting.
interesting, because I
Yeah.
would never think to look at that in that way. And that really provides a lot of food for thought, for sure.
Yeah, that's got me thinking, you know, that it's even higher than love, you know, because maybe some of those parts of us are too hard to send love to at
Yes.
first, but if the highest expression is compassion, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a place to start.
Just saying it is a very peaceful feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's very comforting and very soothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Again, I just feel like it takes like a burden off that I have to try hard. You know, it seems easier to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't feel as much pressure,
Right. Right.
less pressure on yourself to be something.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be who you are. You know,
Right.
it's not like you have to be someone else. You have to be who you are. So,
Yeah, I mean that's a beautiful realization too. I welcome everyone to try and to
that's,
get to there. It does. It makes you free. It doesn't make you perfect, but it definitely makes things easier, I think.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. I think, you know, it's if you could disconnect from all of that other stuff, it is very freeing when you relinquish all of that. And I think that it could provide huge shifts in your life and massive growth. And I think that if we could all do that little by little, um, it's really transformational.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, this is lovely. Thank you so much, Susan.
oh, thank you. It was a pleasure. So it's wonderful speaking with you today.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story.
I'm sure.
Congratulations on your 5-year
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate
anniversary.
it. Yes.
I am definitely gonna look at compassion a different way now and see it. I want it, I feel like it's something that can maybe come to me instead of something that I need to go after, if that makes sense,
So,
which
yeah,
makes me feel
I think
better.
so. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's not a matter of forcing anything. It's about
Right.
sitting back and surrendering and letting it
Yeah.
come to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. For sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we can end there unless there's anything else you'd like to add.
Oh, no, that's it. Thank you so much. It was
Okay.
wonderful. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you
Oh,
for your time.
oh, sure. Thank you. Lots of love to you.
Yeah, lots of love. Ciao.
Ciao.